If he's on the board and the Broncos are, well, I don't know, let's just call it like pick 10 for the sake of the argument in the 2025 NFL draft, and Travis Hunter is sitting there, would you or would you not be interested in the Broncos picking Travis Hunter? Did read this week that NFL scouts are starting to look at Travis as more of an NFL wide receiver than an NFL cornerback. And I don't know, Stoke, I'd lean on you for that if you think he's going to be able to play both, even at a limited role. I don't know if that's certainly an option, but Travis Hunter is a wide receiver or cornerback, and the Broncos are on the clock at 10. Hunter's still sitting there. Stoke, would you pick him for the Broncos?
Man, I would think about it, of course. Now, who else is available? What positions do they play?
Sure.
I don't know what our roster looks like next year. Have we signed Surtain to an extension? All that comes into play here. But, yeah, absolutely. The guy's a great football player, great athlete. He's got great instincts. And I think he's a pretty good guy, too, right? Seems like a really good teammate. And so, he seems like he checks all those other boxes off the football field. But, yeah, so – you watch him play. This guy understands football. He's very aware out there, and so it's not just that he gets by on his athletic ability. He's a really good football player. I don't think. You can't be a two-way player in the NFL. I don't think at a high level. Now, you could use him on some gadget stuff offensively,
sure.
right? And take advantage of his skill set, certainly. But I think he's more of a defensive back. I do.
Really?
Yeah, than a wide receiver. I haven't seen him a ton at wide receiver, so but I just think with his instincts that he could be elite cornerback. I don't know about being an elite wide receiver. I haven't seen enough from him. Now, we've seen him make some great plays,
sure,
obviously, but I don't know. I don't know what that looks like at the wide receiver position for me. I've seen him do it at the cornerback position a lot. So I would say, yeah, of course, I would definitely entertain Travis Hunter, if you're picking 9, 10, 11.
Mm-hmm. And look, you bring up a great point about Patrick Surtain. What's that future look like, right? You might be having to fill that void in next year's draft if you are picking that high. Surtain was 9th overall?
I think so.
If I remember right. So, you're going to be right there in that wheelhouse. And then, hell, even if you do keep Patrick Surtain, we always worry about who's that second corner. TBD on what happens with Riley Moss. Levi Wallace is a little bit older. That's not a long-term solution. I don't have a lot of faith in Damari Mathis. Maybe he can prove me wrong, and that would be great, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. It could be either plug and play, second corner's there, or you're having an opportunity to replace a Patrick Surtain type of player if he decides to walk in free agency or test the market.
Yeah, and, you have all kind of different possibilities there, certainly. But you're trying to get great football players. That's really what you're doing in the first round, right? At premier positions, premium positions. And cornerback is one of them. You look at left tackle. You look at wide receiver. You look at defensive back, quarterback, certainly. Those are the top positions that you're looking at, possibly a tight end. And so it's the same thing as pass rush. You can never have too many good cornerbacks, right? Especially in today's NFL, where you're seeing 3, 4 wide receivers. You're seeing these tight ends, these hybrid type of tight ends. So you're always looking for help covering these wide receivers. And so, yeah, a guy like Travis Hunter, certainly, with his skill set, I would definitely take a look at.
One of our texters on the RamosLaw.com text line says Hunter's a great guy off the field, too. Would love for that guy to stay here in Colorado. Then he can go see Prime, just travel up 36 West. Boom, you're back in your old stomping grounds, and he could just be a member of the Colorado community like he already is.
Yeah. I don't know what number, you're looking at. So say the Broncos are picking 5th. Would you look at him at pick 5?
Yeah.
But it does have a lot to do with what your roster is going to look like after this year. We don't know.
Yeah.
We just don't know. Are we going to lose a couple of our pass rushers? And if there's an elite level pass rusher sitting there, you probably take that guy over Travis Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's we'll see what it looks like when we come around to the draft next year, because a lot's going to change by then. And the one thing that I hope, though, talking about a draft almost, 8-10 months from now, is that we're not in the quarterback market.
Well,
that's the biggest thing, is that we're not in the quarterback market. That means Bo, did enough and look the part enough that we're going to be drafting another position in the first round.
And that's right. Worst case scenario is you have to find another quarterback. I was thinking about that last night too when putting this subject for the show together. Worst case scenario, you got to replace Bo Nix. That means you missed. He's a bust. I think we'd all start asking some more questions about Sean Payton if that were the case as well. Best case scenario is that, right? You get to add a playmaker, a wide receiver. We hope they're not looking for a running back still because how young Estime is and Jaleel and Blake Watson and maybe Javonte pops around. But you add a playmaker like a wide receiver, the best tight end in the NFL draft maybe is what you're looking at. Best case scenario, or depending on how things go in this final year of his contract, you might be looking to replace the Garrett Bowles as well with the best left tackle that's available.
Yeah, I mean, you look at offensive line, left tackle, right tackle. I mean, that's a position, that you might be in the market for, certainly. And if there's a really good one there, then, those guys are hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
You usually don't see those guys in free agency, right? And so if you're picking that high, yeah, that's a position that would be at the top of the list.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, if we're talking about everything going right, Bo's the man. You look at Troy Franklin and Devon Vele, they perform. Audric Estime performs. Riley Moss starts to pop. We're talking about best case scenario here where you can add a wide receiver or a tight end around Bo Nix, because I think outside of that and everything, hitting every single green light in 24, it probably is a replacement at left tackle with Garrett Bowles. And I actually think Garrett Bowles has been very good over the last few years, but getting a little bit longer, and you can probably save some money on the contract if you're willing to let a young left tackle, a young quarterback, a young center, and a young guard kind of develop and come into their own together.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is, it's hard to project right now.
Of course.
What it's going to look like. So, it's so far away, and we don't know who's, okay, they're picking fifth. What if there's not a tackle that you have rated, a top 5 pick, a top 10? Well, you're not gonna reach on a tackle at that point. And the year that Bowles was drafted, I mean, a tackle wasn't taken until I don't know if he was the first one. He might have been the first one there around 20. So it was a long time before a tackle was taken. So if you're picking fifth that year, you weren't taking a tackle.
Yeah.
So it depends on who's available for you. When it's time to draft, and obviously a position of need, and where you're drafting. So we'll see what it looks like when that time comes. But certainly a guy like Travis Hunter, he's always in play.
Trying to identify sports villains that have either done us wrong by beating the teams that we call ours in Denver, or they're former members of the team that has still done us wrong by being members of the basketball, football, hockey, baseball team. That's what we're going to stick to is Broncos, Nuggets, Avs, and Rockies. And Stoke, what we'll do is give us some opportunity to throw out some names, give the texters some opportunity to throw out some names. We'll narrow this down to one villain per each team. And then on Friday, we will come up with who is Denver's number one sports villain of all time.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be fun throughout the week. And like I said, we'll give you guys a couple different opportunities every day to chime in and tell us who you think should be on this list. And when I was thinking about it and we were having the conversations about it here on the show, we could go, all right, are they just guys on the team that screwed us over? Raheem Moore comes to mind, right? That's a villain. Or is it somebody that you just don't like? Patrick Mahomes is obviously a villain. Andy Reid is a villain. Anybody that is associated with the Raiders, like those kind of villains. And I think we do both, accept all submissions, and then just finally pick who could be Denver's all-time sports villain. So when I ask you sports villains with the Broncos, does a face pop into your mind?
Yeah, for me, you look at like Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Phillip Rivers. Like those two.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chargers were really good with Phillip Rivers, and and he just annoyed you. He annoyed the hell out of you, right? So he was aggravating, and they had some really good teams. They were hard to beat. And so I think, and then Brady, same thing. What about Bill Belichick? Could he be on the list too?
He should be on the list.
But I think Brady's
sure.
Probably at the top of the list, and they were really good for a long time. And I'm trying to think, did the Broncos did they get in the way of the Broncos going anywhere ever? I mean, because I mean, Manning, and the Broncos, they beat them the last two AFC championship games that they faced. But I guess, Tom's just automatically anointed the GOAT just no matter what happens in those games, right, Chicken Finger? I mean, do you remember those two AFC championship games and what happened?
Yeah, we killed them both times. I don't think Brady ever beat the Broncos in the playoffs.
Okay.
I think he's 0-3 against us.
Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, because you remember the one, the Champ Bailey interception,
Yep.
right?
First playoff loss,
right? And then you had the two in the. What about the Tebow? Didn't they beat?
Oh, they beat the brakes off that.
Yeah, they
Tebow
beat the
team.
brakes off of the Broncos that year. But
Tom Brady beat Tim Tebow.
Oh. Wow,
that was hard.
He's the GOAT now. He's a GOAT now.
Oh yeah,
he's a GOAT, right? Yeah. Give him all.
Give him his own day.
Yeah.
He's 1-3 against Peyton in AFC championships. Just throwing that out there.
Wow. I mean, I don't. 1-3. That's not a very good record there.
Most important game against Peyton, he can't win. So
right.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
Yeah, Peyton
lost his last 3.
Yeah,
right, yeah. He's on a 3-game losing streak in the AFC Championship game to Peyton. But let's just he's the GOAT. The GOAT. We get his own day, give his own whatever he wants, right?
Unreal.
So I think so no, out on the Patriots then. Never mind. Broncos have owned the Patriots.
Take the Patriots. But can you still have Tom Brady affiliated and not be the Patriots?
Why do we hate Tom? He never beat us really for anything.
Yeah, but he still won.
Yeah, I know, but I think you really hate the people that take something from you.
Okay, I get it.
I get it.
You're
We
right.
hate the Patriots. We didn't like Tom when he was part of the Patriots. All that, yeah. But to really be a villain to one of your teams, you have to lose to him a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So I could understand why. I think you probably put up maybe the 03 and 04 Indianapolis Colts up there because
okay.
that was just a couple ass whippings that we put on the Broncos.
I
back
did
then.
actually write the Colts down.
Well, there you go.
Colts are on the
so
list.
you could throw them in there certainly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad one there.
Manning and Stokley, right?
Yeah. Villains right there.
Yeah, right there.
Until they became heroes.
That's right. That's right.
What does the thing say? Sometimes you live long enough to see yourself be the villain or the hero, or
that's what
remember
they
the
say.
Batman thing?
Yeah,
you love Batman.
Of course I do. I love it. Love it.
Memorized all
Watched
the
every
lines.
one of those.
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah. Who's your favorite
Robin
Batman?
Deals. Michael Burton.
I think you meant Keaton, and that's the right answer.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, that guy.
Michael Burton's the fullback.
He's on the Broncos.
Dang it. I knew there was a Burton, a Michael. Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, and that's the right answer.
Okay.
He is the best Batman. He's, he was a Batman. His Batman shoes were Jordans.
Oh,
custom
cool.
Batman Jordans.
Oh,
for
wow.
him.
Didn't realize that.
That makes him the best Batman.
Okay.
Well, what about the Niners or the Washington? Washington beat the Broncos down in a Super Bowl, right? Is that enough time has removed that they're not the biggest villains, and plus we've now won 3 in the city? Does that time heals all wounds with those kind of things?
Yeah, and it was just one time.
Yeah.
And it's weren't they both didn't you just destroyed in both of those?
Yeah, they got beat pretty bad.
Yeah, so it's it wasn't close games. It was kind of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They were just a better team. So, no, I would say no to those. But, look, I wasn't a Broncos fan then, okay? So, I don't know. I mean, how does Broncos country feel about that? They might feel a lot differently than I do. You said one name earlier, and I think I disagree with you.
Okay.
And it's Andy Reid.
Really?
Yes. You just look at Andy. He's not the villain of anything. You just want to go give him a hug and
maybe if you're a cheeseburger.
Eat some nuggies with him, some nuggies and a hamburger and have a big shake with the guy and then, talk a little ball and then you just walk away I love this guy. He's so nice. And
he put together 16 straight game plans that beat the Broncos.
Right. But it's almost I think you almost hate Patrick Mahomes more than Andy Reid.
Okay.
Andy, we don't hate Andy, we hate Patrick. And Andy, because he's just the grandfather, right?
Okay.
And just a nice guy. And Bill Belichick's a meanie and the bad guy.
He is.
But Andy Reid is just seems like such a nice guy. It's hard to hate him. I don't know. That's the way I view it.
Okay.